So this is part 2 of 2 videos I'm doing for both my Hey Worship Leader family and also my Open Door volunteers who serve with me where I lead worship. The first video was about how we get sound from our soundboard to our ears, and then it was also an in-depth walkthrough of the controls on our personal mixers. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it down below, and I'll also link another video that I did a few months back talking about why we use in-ears in the first place. I talk about pros and cons and also how to introduce them to your church. So if that's something you're interested in, go check those videos out after this one. Now, one of the reasons I want to make this video is because honestly, I haven't done a great job of training my people how to use this gear. One of the most important things you can do to feel confident on stage is to have a really good in-ear monitor mix. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I have 9 tips that I'm going to share with you to get a great in-ear monitor mix. So let's get into it. Number 1 is use sound check to set your mix. A lot of people might stand around and talk or show up late and think that the sound check is not for them, but this is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that anybody in my church does this, but I know it's a common struggle for other ministries. Sound check is the most important time to ensure that you get a good mix. So get there early, have your in-ears in, and be ready to go so that you can lead worship better. Tip number 2 is to turn everything down and start from scratch. Now, what I mean by this is before sound check begins, turn all the channels down except the channel where the audio engineer is speaking to you. Now, if you saw the other videos, I showed you how you could save your presets, and that's true. Sure, you can save your presets, but in my experience, it's much easier to start from ground zero. Plus, like in our church, we might have different band members, different volunteers, different instruments each and every week. So instead of trying to tweak what's already there, it's better, in my opinion, to start from scratch. This will also keep you from hearing any unused channels, and these are often the culprit of unwanted noise. Now, tip within a tip, when you're doing this, now that we have all the volumes down on all the channels, make sure that your master volumes are up and in a good place to start with. If you saw the other video, you know that on our Behringer P16s, there are 3 different areas that control volume. I would set each anywhere from 50 to 75% to ensure that you have enough headroom to turn things up that you need. Now, this leads into tip number 3, which is don't turn it up too loud. You can always come back and add in volume that you want. Volume tends to compound on itself, and when you start doing sound check and you add in different instruments, it's gonna get too loud pretty quickly. It's also a lot easier to bring up what you need rather than try to take down what you don't need when all the sounds are already competing with each other. So don't turn it up too loud. All right, tip number 4 is use panning to create space. Now, what this means is that you can separate sounds from one ear to the other, like listening in stereo. Keeping everything right down the middle makes everything compete for your attention. I personally like to put people or instruments in my ears relative to where they are on stage. If someone is right next to me to the left, I pan them slightly to the left. If someone is way far on the right side of me, I pan it all the way to the right to kind of create that realistic space. Tip number 5 is use EQ to shape your sound. A lot of people don't like the way they sound through in-ear monitors, and there can be several reasons for that, but one way to fix that is by EQing that channel. If you're a singer, take the low end out of your vocals. You can also use the mid-frequency sweep to bring in or take out things that you like or you don't like. You can also change the way something sounds with EQ. Like if the click sounds annoying, you can use the bass, treble, and mid-frequency sweep to make it sound less annoying. Now, it's always going to sound annoying, but you get what I mean. Tip number 6, and this one's very important, keep both in-ears in your ears. When you take them out to hear better or hear the room better, you can do damage to your ears. One of the ways we do this is we tend to take one ear out, and when we do this, we've just removed half the volume. And a lot of times people will go over to their monitor mix and turn it up more to an unhealthy level. This can really cause damage to your ears, so don't do that. Tip number 7 is don't overload your mix. Only put in there what is necessary for you. You're not trying to recreate a studio mix. Typically, you only need these 3 things. You need a reference to the pitch so you can make sure you're in tune. You need a reference to the timing so you can make sure you're in time with the song, whether that's to a click or a drummer's hi-hat or an acoustic guitar. And then you need a reference to the feel of the energy in the room, which leads me to tip number 8, and that is use the ambient mic channel. I just realized I got that on my face. I wonder how long that's been there. If you have the ability to use ambient mics, do it. This lets you hear the room, and that's usually the biggest complaint when using in-ear monitors. This gets rid of that feeling like you're playing or singing in a box. When you can hear the room, it sounds more natural. Okay, tip number 9 and our last tip to ensure you have a good in-ear monitor mix is to invest in a decent set of in-ear monitors. Now I use the KZ AS10s. I really like these because they're balanced, and that just means that they give you a good representation of the sound without boosting any high or low frequencies. Now if you don't have the money for these, I would suggest the KZ ZSTs. I know that's a lot of letters. Those are a really good inexpensive option. I think they're less than $20. So if you want to shop, I'll put more options down in the description. All right, fam, that's it. I hope it was helpful for you. If it was, can you please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already? That just lets me know that you enjoy this kind of content. Also, would you let me know down in the comments any other tips that you have to get a good in-ear monitor mix that maybe I didn't cover? I know it would be helpful for people reading those. Well, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.